let's start off, David. First off, just great to meet you finally. At least put a face to the name. I've been hearing about your work all over the world for a while now, and can't wait to try the products and see the brand at both Plant-Based World in London and New York. Would love for you to share with us a little bit about the original inspiration behind the Omni brand and about your company's core mission.
Well, the company core mission is just like all of us. I think we all collectively share the same mission. I mean, we meaning all the different stakeholders in the plant-based space. We all try to make the world greener, more sustainable, kinder, and healthier. I mean, that's our collective goal. So it's almost like we are all on the same team. It's just we are playing different roles or different positions, right? Like imagine we're in a football team, you know, and you need a lot of players to be on one team. And so from that standpoint, Green Monday, obviously we're headquartered in Asia. Hong Kong is our base, but we now have, you know, grown. We will be celebrating as a group, Green Monday, we will be celebrating our 10th anniversary next year, which is quite unbelievable. I mean, exactly 10 years ago, like about this time was when we were like busy planning and preparing for the kickoff. And at the beginning, it was just to create the movement to raise awareness on our side of the world. Now, Green Monday as a group focus on two main things. I mean, out of many things we do, I mean, ultimately is that we can break it down to two main things. One is to raise awareness, why do we need to change? It's about the why. And then the other is the how. So, you know, why, of course, climate change, sustainability, well, animal cruelty, you name them. And a lot of people do not know that. And then even if they start knowing, how can we get them into the door? So the movement of, you know, one day a week, similar to Meatless Monday, Meat-Free Monday, Green Monday has become, of course, massively successful, particularly on our side of the world. That's number one. But number two, the how. Omni is born because of that. Now, of course, the world is, as of today, I mean, the world should no longer be unfamiliar with Beyond Meat, with Impossible, with, you know, Califia, with Oatly. Now, for us, especially in Asia, Omni focus first on pork and then second on seafood. These two protein categories, of course, are consumed globally, but they are the most consumed in Asia. 73% of seafood consumption happens in Asia. In the case of China, in terms of all protein consumed, 65% is pork. So that is why we came up with the idea of developing Omni. Omni has a very global team, so our R&D is in Canada. And now distribution is in over 20 markets around the world. Of course, in the US, most recently, as you may or may not, or hopefully you have tried already, there are many restaurants that already have launched, you know, menu incorporating Omni, Omni pork, you know, the vegan spam, the luncheon meat, and then it is also now our products are available in Sprouts nationwide, in many states of Whole Foods, and many more to come.
Fantastic. It's a great segue to my next question, which is about why you chose to take such a global approach. And, you know, would love a little background. You know, some brands stay local and they focus more on a small community. You know, some maybe even bigger, but going global into multiple of these markets around the world, you know, is a bold strategy, and it's amazing to see the success that's happened in such a short period of time. Can you share a little bit about why, the background on that decision?
Well, we're tackling a global problem, right? So if we really want to make a dent at this massive crisis that is happening, then actually we all need to be global. I mean, now the good thing about like certain countries, I mean, US and mainland China being the most obvious, is that, I mean, the domestic market itself is huge. But for many other countries or markets, I mean, going international is by default because the local market is not as big as, let's say, the US or the domestic mainland China market. So for us, being based in Hong Kong and myself, I mean, I spent many years, I spent more than a decade of my life in New York. personally, I mean, my family still keeps a home in New York City. So, I mean, it's sad that we cannot travel, but whenever I'm back in New York, I mean, New York is absolutely still home to me. So I think that also goes a little bit to the background of myself and my partner, Jenny, a fellow co-founder, because both of us have very international background. So navigating globally is almost the way we were brought up. We were raised that way. So we're equally eloquent or articulate, not just in language, but in terms of how business is conducted.
Great. And, it's, can you describe a little bit of what you see as the key factors that have led to such quick success, both in your local market of Hong Kong and then getting the brand to be recognized alongside some of these other brands that you've mentioned that have gained such mass media attention and global recognition over these last 4 or 5 years?
Right. Well, number one, I think Asian food or the Asian population, well, is significant, right? Asian population, Asian market, Asian meat consumption or protein consumption is clearly significant. And we have been doing this, we have been in this space for the last 10 years. And I think it is it is sheerly because we started early. You can say that we had foresight or vision, or you can simply say that we were stubborn at that time, that we, I decided to, and we decided to take it upon ourselves to do something. So the end result is that we have absolutely become the leader, first and foremost in Asia. Okay. Now, Hong Kong is a very good hub for that because despite the fact that Hong Kong itself is a city, but it is sitting in the center, very much the center of, at least the Asia Pacific side. And until COVID, I mean, people go through in and out of Hong Kong as one of the most international cities in the world. So that influence, that kind of ripple effects from Hong Kong to different parts of Asia and then globally, that is also somewhat kind of a strategic position. So number one, as more and more companies are clearly, companies and entrepreneurs are coming into the space, and especially in the early going, most of these companies are not from Asia, and they are not thinking with the Asian market as their mindset, or the Asian population as their mindset. Asians are everywhere in the world, of course, Asian Americans, Asian Canadians, Asian, British Asians, etc. So that puts us in a unique position that today, fast forward to today, when people think about pork alternative, when people think about Asian cuisines, when people think about the movement that is happening in Asia, I think it is there's no way the name Green Monday or OmniFoods do not come up in the conversation. In fact, it should be the first or one of the first names that come to the conversation. So, and with social media, of course, it just, the messages and the words travel globally. So that helps. And that doesn't just help us, that helps most of the brands out there as well.
It's great. And there's got to be a combination of being first and having the vision both to start at the right time, and then also that long-term vision to know your clientele, to see the way the world is progressing. And
now, of course, I need to take one step back and say that now, of course, at the end, our Omni products are not just for Asians. Omni products can absolutely be used, in all cuisines. You can apply it to so many different ways, whether it's Mexican, Italian, just, anything. But having a particular positioning in the market helps a lot. It's kind of like, of course, Impossible and Beyond do not only do burgers. Obviously, they do more than burgers, but that's something that they already occupy in the consumer's mind, right? So a plant-based burger, those two names clearly come to mind, and it will be harder for number 5, number 6 to come into the conversation because they're so dominant. So by all means, Omni is not just for Asian food or Asian cuisine, but it has that unique positioning.
And now that we're getting into what's coming next and what are these other brands out there that are tackling these different elements of this problem and the opportunity that comes along with it. Of course, this interview is with Plant-Based World Expo, and we're getting ready just 2 weeks from now to be returning to live events, finally launching our first London show. It's amazing. We've been working on it for over 2 years now, and it's ready to come to life. And Omni will be exhibiting products at both our show in London, which is the launch on October 15th and 16th, and then also in New York for the second version of Plant-Based World North America in December. Can you share with us just a little bit about what you're excited about showing the industry at these gatherings? Any kind of teasers or anything we can look forward to at the booth?
Well, obviously, for most of the folks, both in New York and in London, I mean, just to be out at an event is going to be extremely exciting. I want to be there so badly, but obviously with travel restrictions. But I trust that the shows will be extremely successful. And thanks to the great work from everyone, behind the scene in terms of the organizer, it is so not easy to put an event together. And of course, with the delay and everything. But in terms of what everyone can look forward to, well, I mean, they will be in for treats, like real treats, both the Omni Pork series and the Omni Seafood series. I mean, Omni Seafood, of course, is something that is a whole new line of new products that we announced a few months ago, and it is getting incredible traction. Now, seafood alternative as a whole, I think the importance of that and the people's understanding of the importance of that is rising, thanks to documentaries, thanks to a lot more coverage. I mean, saving the ocean or reducing seafood consumption is absolutely no less important than reducing our land animal protein consumption. So to have that dual categories of protein that's in the market relatively have less products or less, prominent leaders in, let's say, we will be showcasing, of course, our filet, which, I mean, everyone who have tried, like in the UK, I'm sure everyone will be loving our Omni fish and chips. Awesome. I mean, that should be one of the biggest hits. We're talking about UK, right? Fish and chips country. So both the Omni Pork and Omni Seafood line, I think, will bring a lot of wows to the market. And indeed, both to the end consumers and to business partners, restaurant partners. I mean, we hope with more variety, they can incorporate this, whatever cuisines they are, they can incorporate these into their menu.
It's amazing. Well, we certainly look forward to introducing these products to all of the business professionals, particularly those buyers on the retail side, the food service and restaurant side, who are clamoring these days to understand what products are out there to give something new, something different that's also healthier, more sustainable to their customers. And we are very much look forward to seeing it and trying it. And anything else you want to share with our audience, David, before we end the interview here?
Right. Now, I think, the timing of the two shows are kind of perfect. I mean, in a serendipity way, because by then, well, in the US, of course, Whole Foods and Sprouts already carrying our products. In the UK, we will be launching in Sainsbury sometime, well, before the show. I mean, it will be launched before the show. And then even in Australia, we just kick off in all the Woolworths nationwide in Australia, plus, of course, the countries and markets in Asia Pacific. So indeed, I mean, I guess with all the delays, suddenly all the new events, all the launches are compressed into, a quarter or 4 or 5 months. So the momentum is going to be awesome. And of course, we just want to be one of the many players and contributors to truly move the needle and get the world to eat more plant-based.
Thank you so much, David. It's an honor to be on this big global team with you, and I appreciate how you put that and how we're all working on this in our own way together. And you'll be missed at our live events this fall, and we look forward to you being able to travel again so that we can see you.
I can't wait.
Come out and speak in 2022 or something like that.
That's right.